the hotel, so I told him, let's come take picture. And once he came, I dropped him. And I had to do it because I'm not somebody I'm not Alex Perez, I'm not...
Low key, that's badass. Low key, I don't care. Like, going through the history of all this, and he's like, nah, I had to, I dropped him. Like, I'm post UFC 304, Dana White let it be known that the UFC would not be resigning 23-year-old undefeated flyweight Muhammed Mokaev. Immediately after his fight with Kape, where he was victorious. Wasn't the most exciting fight, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to win. I'm gonna check out this video from MMA Focus about Muhammed Mokaev and his departure from the UFC.
Muhammed Mokaev's UFC career is officially over. Despite his win over Kape at UFC 304, Dana White has released Mokaev from the UFC with immediate effect. First, we'll look at Dana White's comments about Mokaev being released from the UFC, and then we'll look at the entire story why Muhammed Mokaev was released from the UFC. So let's get into it.
Now, what did you make of the Mokaev and Kape drama? Like, you know, they had that run-in at the PI, they had that run-in at the hotel.
There was so much bad shit that happened in the behind the scenes with that thing, and yeah, not good.
Mokaev said that his contract is up, and he made this interesting remark that said someone at the UFC told him to stop shooting for these takedowns so much, and maybe he'll get this contract that he wants. Is that true, and do you think he'll bring him back?
Yeah, that's what we tell guys. We tell guys how to fight and tell them we've been doing this for a long fucking time. I'm sure one of the matchmakers probably said something to him or whatever, but
that's Rick James right there. Like, I remember, like, I would go in there and just smack somebody just to smack somebody. Yeah, I remember smacking it. Like, that's the Rick James clip right there. That cocaine is one hell of a drug.
Just all of a sudden just jump up and grind my feet on somebody's couch like it's you know, something to do. Come on, I got a little more sense than that. Yeah, I remember grinding my feet on his couch.
This nigga said, yeah, like, we tell people how to fight, and then immediately says, yeah, maybe one of the matchmakers said something to him. Bro, y'all told him not to shoot takedowns. Which, honestly, in my opinion, when he tells me that he was told not to shoot takedowns, when Muhammed Mokaev says he was told not to shoot takedowns, my mind immediately went to, like, there should be a federal case. You know what I'm saying? There's prop bets about if he has more or less of this amount of takedowns, and they told him not to shoot takedowns. All right. Immediately when I heard, I was like, dude, that should be investigated. Look into the bets coming from people like associated with the UFC and that prop specifically, because they told him not to shoot takedowns, and the prop was like 3.5 takedowns for Muhammed Mokaev, who usually spams takedowns, and he was told not to shoot takedowns in that fight. I felt like this was a federal case when he said that, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, the matchmakers aren't big fans of his for many different reasons, and not just there's a lot of people who shoot takedowns in this business. You know, a lot of guys that fight with that type of style, but it's a lot more than just that.
But Mokaev is the guy that you'd want to bring back to the UFC because he said his contract is totally done now.
Yeah, he is. He's under contract. He's not under contract anymore.
Okay. But would you be interested in, you know, keeping him around in the fall?
I think the PFL is going to get a great undefeated guy.
Really?
Good luck to him.
So as we saw there, Dana White said the UFC brass are not happy with Muhammed Mokaev. He's caused a lot of issues behind the scenes, and besides his performance at UFC 304, they are not willing to re-sign him and renew his contract. And just to backtrack, I'm actually going to go through the entire story of how we got to this point of one of the best flyweight prospects in the UFC being released from the promotion.
See, yeah, okay, yeah, he's gonna talk about it here, but as I'm reading this, and I was talking about this with Calf Kick Sports, and I'm like, how is Manel not about to be released as well? Because he definitely played a role in these interactions, these encounters here, these backstage fights. He played a role here, so it wasn't just Mokaev, but it'll be explained in this video.
and leaving the promotion on bad terms with Dana White. Now, back in early July of 2024, Manel Kape allegedly attacked Muhammed Mokaev at the UFC PI. Now, this came after some back and forth on social media, and eventually the fighters crossed paths at the UFC PI, and apparently Manel Kape attacked Muhammed Mokaev at the Performance Institute.
Headbutt
And Gene
elbow.
Silva, a teammate of Manel Kape, claimed that back in February, a week before Mokaev's fight with Alex Perez, Kape headbutted and elbowed Mokaev at the entrance of the UFC Performance Institute. And Silva went on to say he elbowed Mokaev in the head on the street, bro. Bro, he caught Mokaev at the entrance here at the UFC PI. He headbutted him and elbowed him in the street. He opened Mokaev's head a week before his fight. Kape is a psychopath.
See, so Kape is a psychopath. Kape headbutted and elbowed Muhammed Mokaev a week before he fought Alex Perez, and they cut Muhammed Mokaev for sucker punching that same person who headbutted, elbowed him. He got this cut on his forehead from that situation right before the fight, and they cut him for, in retaliation, sucker punching Cap or Cap, whatever, Kape, however you say it.
Now, as you can see here, a picture was released online which shows a scar above Muhammed Mokaev's eye, apparently caused by Manel Kape when he attacked Mokaev at the UFC Performance Institute. Now, a few months later, obviously Kape and Mokaev were scheduled to fight each other, and on Thursday, July 25th, during UFC 304 Fight Week, Kape and Mokaev crossed paths at the UFC Fighter Hotel, decided to squash their beef, and took a picture together. Muhammed Mokaev apparently extended an olive branch to Manel Kape and said, "Let's squash the beef," put their arms around each other and took a picture. But a few moments after this photo was taken, Muhammed Mokaev sucker punched Manel Kape from behind and a brawl broke out. And a video was actually released on social media of this brawl breaking out in the Fighter Hotel. And apparently Manel Kape suffered an injury and he had blood all over his face. And here's the video. Now, after this brawl broke out, Manel Kape reacted on social media saying, "What kind of Muslim are you? You gave me salam, asked me to take a picture, and then tried to punch me in the betrayal. I can see now you are..."
What is salam? Oh, it means peace.
"You are not a child of Dagestan. Because they are created men, you are just a poor bastard raised on a low income in Manchester without honor and principles.
Wow.
When I hit you in Vegas, I went alone and told you to be ready. I don't hit men with their guard down or distract."
I don't like the way Manel be talking to people. Manel be talking real reckless. That shit's crazy. Like, you are just a poor bastard raised on low income in Manchester without honor. Like, this shit is crazy. Why are you talking like that? Why are you talking like that? That's crazy. And he was talking crazy to Izzy, dropping hella F-bombs. Like, man, this guy's wild.
Distracted or on the back. I thought everything was solved, but now the carnage will continue. Shaitan. And shaitan is actually a word used in Islam to describe the devil. And then Kape followed up with this picture showing Muhammed Mokaev with a scar above his eye, which was apparently caused by Kape at the UFC PI. Kape went on to say, "My bits forever, the deserter's mark." You would
see, how can he brag about doing this and they cut Mokaev?
dream of me every time you look in the mirror. Falsehood, scrotum, they are in your vein, in your blood, in your DNA. Saturday, you're going to sleep, bastard. And then Muhammed Mokaev responded and posted this picture of Manel Kape on the floor after the brawl at the Fighter Hotel. And in the caption he says, "Help." Now, the next day after the brawl at the Fighter Hotel on July 26th at the UFC 304 ceremonial weigh-ins, Mokaev and Kape were separated and were not allowed to face off. Then backstage after the ceremonial weigh-ins, both fighters got into a physical altercation. And
I didn't even hear that. I didn't hear that. But even so, none of this is seemingly more than a headbutt and elbow that cut him open. But
Muhammed Mokaev threw a bottle at Manel Kape, and there is actually footage of this as well on social media, and you can see Muhammed Mokaev chasing after Kape backstage, and then he throws a bottle at him. Here's the footage.
down. Calm down.
Oh wow. Interesting. Yeah, that was wild. That's a little much.
At UFC 304, Muhammed Mokaev defeated Manel Kape by unanimous decision. Now, despite his win, Dana White and the UFC matchmakers were not satisfied with his performance and decided not to re-sign him to the UFC. And at the post-fight press conference, Muhammed Mokaev admitted to sucker punching Kape and explained why. Mokaev also revealed that before UFC 304, the UFC matchmakers said they weren't sure about renewing his contract because he wrestles too much.
Muhammad, there was massive, just over here, yeah. There was massive bad blood in heading into this fight between you and Kape. What was this week like for you? And can you just explain those run-ins that you had within this week? How did that all happen?
You know, this fight was important to me. 5 days before my Alex Perez fight, I met with Manuel. He headbutted me. If you watch my Alex Perez fight, I went fight with cut with like 8 they stitched up my eyebrow. I went fight with Alex Perez. Everybody think I was boring wrestler, but I was shooting on my knees to open my cut, and nobody knew this. So we shook hands with Manuel, and in one of the interviews, whoever asked me about Las Vegas, I said it was between me and Kape stays in Vegas. And in the interview, he said once he comes to Manchester, he gonna do it second time. So I couldn't come close to him in the hotel. So I told him, let's come take picture. And once he came, I dropped him. And I had to do it because I'm not somebody I'm not Alex Perez, I'm not...
Low key, that's badass. Low key, I don't care. Like, going through the history of all this, and he's like, nah, I had to, I dropped him. Like, I vibes with Mokaev right here. Y'all crazy for cutting this dude.
Not all the guys who somebody can bully me. I come from the roof background. Like my life was tough, and I give no shit to anyone to bully me, you know.
So as Mokaev said there, he couldn't get close enough to Manel Kape in a fighter hotel, so he tricked him by saying, let's take a picture together. And when Kape agreed to take a picture, Mokaev then seized the opportunity to get revenge and sucker punched him from behind.
He also said before that, though, slow down, my guy. Manel said when he gets to Manchester, he's gonna headbutt and elbow him again. So he was like, all right, I had to, like, he's not gonna bully me. I had to do that. So hold on. He set that up because Manel was like, I'm about to do this again. And then Manel foolishly came and took that picture. That's crazy to me that Manel would take that picture.
Now that is pretty bad if you ask me. If you're gonna fight someone, if you're gonna attack someone, at least do it face to face. But by tricking them and asking them to take a picture, it is kind of snaky in my opinion, and you should have actually got him outside of the hotel, or better still, you should have just waited until the actual fight and settled the score inside the cage where both of you were getting paid, because Manel Kape apparently got injured in that brawl as well, which means the fight could have been cancelled, so he jeopardized his own fight by doing this.
It didn't matter that he cut Mokaev open right before his fight with Alex Perez. That didn't happen, my guy.
And it was quite a stupid decision in my opinion. But after this, Mokaev actually revealed that before UFC 304, he was in negotiations to re-sign with the UFC because this was the last fight on his UFC contract. But apparently, the UFC matchmakers told him they weren't sure about re-signing him because he shoots too much, he wrestles too much. So what they were going to do is wait after UFC 304 to watch his performance and then decide if they were going to re-sign him. Now, a lot of people think that he had a bad performance at UFC 304, and his performance at UFC 304 is the reason the UFC didn't re-sign him.
The guy Steven Isik, okay, I fought Manel Kape. He was ranked below me, but I think he was more dangerous than Pantoja.
Well done.
Thank you.
In front, did they try to give you a new contract before this fight?
They said they're gonna see how I perform. They don't want to see me keep shooting and taking somebody down, but I've done what I could do with like tonight, yeah.
They said they didn't like you shooting in there? Is that what they said?
Yeah, they don't like this because they tried to get rid of flyweights before, and they don't want this kind of fight. But listen,
yeah, Demetrius Johnson surmised that if they cut him, and you know, him being undefeated, and UFC claims to have the best fighters, you wouldn't logically cut him if you want to have the best fighters. He's surmising that they're probably just gonna try to get rid of the entire flyweight division, just as Muhammad mentioned there.
And I'm young, I'm still not in my prime. Like, if they want me to stand and bank with toe-to-toe with these like 30 years old grown men, I have to do what's best for me to win.
So as Mokaev said there, the UFC told him they don't like him wrestling and he shoots too much, and for this reason, they were considering not re-signing him to the UFC. Now, this is not unusual. This has been said many times before. For those that don't know, there was a fighter called Brendan Loughnane who fought on Dana White's Contender Series against Bill Algeo. Loughnane pretty much dominated that fight, but in the last 10 seconds of the fight, he shot for a takedown, and after the fight, Dana White absolutely scolded him and refused to sign him to the UFC. Another fighter also mentioned this in the past, Australian fighter Jack Jenkins. He actually apologized for wrestling too much during a fight. I think it was on a Contender Series or his UFC debut.
That's crazy.
He apologized to the UFC for wrestling too much. So I think behind the scenes, they probably told him as well they want to see him striking and not doing wrestling. So this isn't uncommon. And if we go back even further in UFC history, John Fitch was a fighter that was regularly scolded by Dana White for wrestling too much and making his fights boring.
Crazy.
So this isn't uncommon, guys. A lot of fighters have been released from the UFC for wrestling too much during the fights. And anyway, this is the situation now, Muhammad.
That's basically why Kobe was about to get cut. Let's be real here. Kobe had the same thing. He was about to get cut. They said he was too boring with his wrestling. Man, considering all the altercations, the whole histories of the run-in, I feel like they're making a huge mistake in not re-signing Muhammed Mokaev. I believe that they're on the verge of a superstar. All right? They're on the verge of a superstar here. He's 23 years old. He didn't show in that fight that he's ready to be the champion, but he's 23 years old and he's definitely ready to be in the top 5 of the weight class. I'd say by 30 he'd probably move up to 135. You know what I'm saying? This man is on the verge of being a phenom. All right. Everything I heard in that history made me think Muhammed Mokaev is much more badass than I've ever thought. All right. They need to bring that guy back. I think it would be a mistake on everyone's part because he can go to another promotion, he can go to PFL, he can go to ONE, but what is the real... Like, what is he gonna get from that? What is he gonna get from that experience-wise? Like, I feel like he's just gonna be wasting his time in another promotion. And the UFC, I mean, I guess they don't need him to make money, but if you're supposed to be the promotion with the best fighters, not having Muhammed Mokaev there for personal reasons is just silly to me. All right, he sounds fucking badass. All right. Muhammed Mokaev said, when I get to Manchester, I'm going to headbutt and elbow this guy as soon as I see him. And Manel was like, oh nah, man, let's take a photo together. Like, let's be cool. Peace. Salam. And then he dropped him with a punch. It was like, nah, I'm not gonna let this boy bully me, man. Like, I think, how are we not getting the same energy from Khamzat Chimaev with the whole Nate Diaz, Kevin Holland scuffle backstage? Was he not? Were they not throwing water bottles, fighting at the hotels? They had to rearrange the whole card. What's the difference between what Muhammed Mokaev is doing at UFC 304 and what Khamzat Chimaev did in the lead up to his fight with Nate Diaz that never happened because of the shenanigans? The only difference is that Khamzat's a little more popular. You got the undefeated, wrestle heavy, like, guy from Europe, the Dagestani Chechenian area. The only difference is Khamzat is more popular, but he did the exact same things. Let's.
Did you say you want to fight now? Yeah.
You want to fight me?
No, I said, do you said in interview?
I want to fight you. You want to fight me? Let's go right here. You want to go there?
What's happening in Israel? What's happening with Israel? I'm here. You said you were going to now? I'm here now. Who is against it now? You're playing like a kid now.
What's the difference between this and Muhammed Mokaev?
Say something now, you bitch.
You're not about that life, kid. You're not about it, kid.
You're my bitch. Come on.
Everyone expected Dana White to punish Khamzat for missing weight. To everyone's surprise, Dana actually showered Khamzat with compliments.
He's an absolute freak of nature, and I don't think anybody expected that, especially against Kevin.
Have you talked to Khamzat, find out what went wrong with his weight cut, and did you?
No. I mean, what should I talk to him about? You should be sorry, get smaller. I mean,
see, that's crazy. Khamzat can do no wrong. Nah, it's pretty weird here, man. Khamzat Chimaev, pretty much like a taller Muhammed Mokaev, can fight backstage, do whatever the fuck he wants, miss weight, but no backlash. Miss weight fight, miss weight by 8 pounds, fight niggas backstage, ruin an entire pay-per-view card the day before it happens. And Dana's White like, what should I ask him? Are you sorry about... But Muhammed Mokaev, nope. That guy's better get the fuck out of here. I don't understand it. I think they should realize the mistake here and re-sign Muhammed Mokaev as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let me know what you think about Muhammed Mokaev in the UFC, and I'll see you guys next time.